Letter About Literature by Sidney Mershon. Dear Lauren Miller, a few weeks ago I found myself in a situation I hadn't planned on finding myself in. I was standing outside the security gate to my school in the middle of the night, clad in my pajamas, clenching my frustration into the palms of my hands as I tried to persuade my friend Bethany to climb over the gate. My other 3 friends were standing with me on the opposite side of the fence, desperately trying to talk Bethany through getting over the fence. I could tell everyone was starting to get nervous. After all, it was 11:30, and the longer we stood there, the darker the night seemed, and the more visible I felt. All of us had climbed over the fence at least a few times in our efforts to show Bethany how. I didn't know why we had even come over here in the first place. We hadn't even been bored. The football field wasn't far from my house, but I hadn't thought we would be over here so long. I knew we had to get back soon, or my parents were going to put my head on a spike outside their moat. Bethany was walking along the edge of the fence, trying to find an easier place to climb over. I was beginning to think going back the way we had come would have been a better option, even though walking to that gap in the side of the chain link took a lot longer than jumping the fence here. Then the lights in the parking lot turned off. Fantastic. A feeling of dread began to wind its way through my stomach. Selena suggested that she and Bethany walk to the chain link hole and meet us when we get back. It was a few more minutes of consideration before we decided that the 5 of us would all walk back to the hole. We just have to hurry. As we all started the trek around the path, speed walking in our slippers, I burst out laughing. The ridiculousness of our situation hit me like a punch. For a moment, I felt like I had stepped into the pages of your book. My worry and frustration seemed to ease out of my mind in between my sobbing laughs. It wasn't long before we were all that way, laughing in the dark with our breath fogging together in a cloud. I realized that I had taken part in a decision that wasn't rational or necessary or logical, and I was following all of my own accord. I was happy about this. I suddenly felt a freedom in the fact that I could mess up. I thought of Rory in your book Free to Fall when she stops using Lux, stops making all of her decisions in a way so she never has to fall. I thought of her walking through the cemetery instead of along the road and laughed harder. We made it back fine, just tired and hungry. My parents even refrained from beheading me. We spent the remainder of the night on the couch with 3 bags of jelly beans. I will not be repeating that night's particular extravagance of fence dodging, but I will remember that for the first time in a long time, I realized it was okay. I had messed up. I have decided to try and take simple risks more, try things a little bit more outside my comfort box, because if I mess up, it's okay, and if I fall, I did it freely. It is almost as though I'm quitting the mental version of Lux. No, I won't be trespassing again, but instead I'll order a type of coffee I've never tried before, or take my horse over a jump higher than the highest I've jumped previously. It wasn't only Free to Fall that has helped me come to these conclusions, but I think maybe your book put some of the things my family's tried to tell me into a message I can happily read multiple times. I can relate to Rory, how she feels as though she needs to earn good grades to live without making mistakes, and how she's obsessed with coffee and music. Before I read your book, I was paranoid and worried about the outcome of things. Now, I hope maybe I can think more about doing things and loving the process of doing them instead of anticipating the outcome. Sincerely, Sidney Mershon.